to my channel. I hope you guys are all well. I hope you guys are all safe. So, as you can tell by the title of this video is going to be about how I quit my job and moved abroad. But before we get into it, please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. So yeah, let's get into it. We are going to start from the very beginning. So, I was practically a fetus in the working world. I had just graduated uni, I was 21, I was eager to get a job, and do something with my life. So it took me roughly around 6 months to find a job, and the job I worked in, or the area I worked in, was insurance. So yeah, I started working there when I was like 22, and I was super excited and I was super eager because I was like, oh my gosh, I've got my own phone. Oh my gosh, I've got my own computer. Oh my gosh, I've got my own desk. Oh my gosh, I have my own chair. So yeah, I was really excited about that. So I was happy and I was content for maybe 6 months. And then I got bored because the job was very repetitive. Like, it was the same thing day in and day out. But once I did work there for a year, I did get promoted to do another position. So then it was a completely different thing. So I was happy because it was something different. So for 6 months, again, I was happy. And then, yeah, I was bored. So I was just like, okay. And then they gave me another one. I was like, oh, okay, this is completely different. This is new. And then 6 months, I got bored. However, I will admit that the customers kept me on my toes. Like, these customers are crazy. Like, it's not even funny. They will call you and be like,
if you don't give me my money, I'm coming over to your workplace and I'm gonna set the place on fire.
And you're just like, I don't want to have to deal with this, sir. Like, you'll get your money when you get your money, okay? So yeah, they kept me on my toes. You have to be very strong-minded to work in a place like that because these customers do not play games. So to all my fellow co-workers, yeah, you guys are doing a good job. I'm not even gonna lie to you. So it came to 2018 and I was just like, I'm done with insurance. I don't want to work in I don't want to work in this field anymore. I want to do something completely different. I want to experience something completely different. And then I got this urge where I wanted to travel. So I was like, oh, I really want to travel. But unfortunately for me, I didn't save money to travel. I was spending my money on other things, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, I was spending my money on other things, so I didn't have savings dedicated to traveling. So I thought, oh, that means I can't travel, I can't do anything. But then I went on Google and I was just like, when you type in on Google, how to travel abroad when you have no money. And then obviously a blog came up and you can work, and they said you can work abroad while you traveled. So I said, okay, good. So then what I did was, even though I am an impulsive person, I feel like that's a big decision to make. So I said, okay, let me weigh the pros and cons of me leaving. And if the pros outweigh the cons, then bun it, I'll go ahead. So yeah, I did that. So the pros obviously outweigh the cons because then I wouldn't be here. So yeah, I said, okay, good. That's that decided. So if you do want to work and move abroad, you definitely need to take a lot of things into consideration, like your job, your salary, your family, if you have your own apartment, who's going to pay for that, your car. You do have a lot of things to take into consideration. Obviously, some people don't take that into consideration and they're just like, let's go. No. Do not do that. That is probably the worst thing you could ever do. You should definitely take time and sit and be like, okay, let me deep the situation and let me actually think about it. So, okay, I deep my situation. I was like, I'm going. So then I decided I needed to decide what country I wanted to work in. So there were lots of countries. There was anyway, you can work anywhere around the world, to be honest. But then I wanted to have a job where I would make a decent amount of money. So obviously you can work anywhere and there's lots of jobs that you can do around the world. You can do a placement in a safari in Africa, or you could be an au pair in Australia, or you could be a teacher in the UAE or in Asia or in South America and Europe. There's lots of jobs you can do. So I decided that I didn't want to be a nanny, and I don't want no line to eat me, you know, Carole Baskin from Tiger King.
And that's Carole Baskin down at Big Cat Rescue. It was all part of Carole Baskin's plan with Peter the Carole Baskin. Carole Baskin is so influential that Carole Baskin and Carole Baskin, I consider that bitch to be one of the biggest terrorists in the exotic animal world right now. Carole Baskin. Yep, that lady.
Okay, I was like, I don't want no lion to eat me. So I said, you know what? I'll be a teacher because I do like kids, you know. So I said, okay, I'll be a teacher. So I searched what I needed to do to be a teacher in a country. So, like I said, there's lots of countries that are looking for teachers. Initially, I was gonna do the UAE, but then I looked and it says you needed 2 years teaching experience, and I didn't have that at the time. So I couldn't do the UAE. But in Asia, they don't really require you to have 2 years teaching experience. You mostly just need to have a bachelor's degree. You need to be a native English speaker, which basically means you need to be born in an English speaking country, or you need to have lived there for quite a long time, and then you need to have a TEFL certification. So I was like, okay, I can do that. That's no problem. I can do that. So I needed to decide what Asian country I wanted to work in. There was China, there was Vietnam, there was South Korea, there was Japan. There was a lot. So I definitely did do my research, and I compared each and every country, and I saw what benefits each country had. Oh, let me have a look at South Korea. So I looked at South Korea and I liked it. I liked the scenery of South Korea. South Korea is a very beautiful country. I'm not even gonna lie. So I was like, okay, I like the scenery, you know. So yeah, I was like, okay, South Korea, that's what I'm going with. I decided I'm going to be a teacher in South Korea, an English teacher. So before I even applied, I didn't have any TEFL certification. I didn't have any certificate confirming that I could teach English as a foreign language. So I applied to an academy where they do the certification, and I did it. I did 168 hours and I got the certificate. So then I applied for the program, which is the EPIC program. I applied for it, and that application is really long. It's no joke. You actually have to take your time and apply very carefully, because they ask you about what health conditions you have. They ask you obviously the basics, your name, your date of birth, where you're from, where do you live, and then they ask you obviously. The main questions they ask you is, why did you pick South Korea? What is your teaching philosophy? And I can't remember, there's three questions, and it has to be at least 300 words, I think, or 250 words. And then after that, you have to you have to do a lesson plan. So I did my lesson plan. Oh, that took me ages to do. Yeah, I did my lesson plan and I applied. I was like, okay, boom, I've applied. Let's see what happens. So it was it took maybe 2 weeks for them to get back to me. And oh, congratulations, you got accepted. We're gonna schedule you in for an interview. The interview was actually pretty relaxing and calm. It wasn't no pressure, because in England they like to do that group interview, or they like to have 5 senior members and you're sitting there and you have to talk to each of them. It wasn't like that. It was done over Skype. She just asked me some questions that were practically almost in the application, and yeah, and it probably took 20 minutes. And that was the day that I said I was sick and I didn't want to come into work, so sorry. But yeah, so I did the interview, and then I think I heard back maybe within the next 2 days that I had been accepted into the program. So I was really excited. I was like, yes, okay, good, I'm going to South Korea, yay! And then I had to do the visa. But before I did that, I definitely needed to research on South Korea, what their culture is like. Because Western culture is very different from Asian, South Korean culture. It's very different. So I obviously did my research, especially because I'm a black woman, it's going to be very different for me as opposed to someone who is a white woman in Korea. So I definitely did my research, and when I entered South Korea, I wasn't as like culture shocked as I was because I already did the research, so nothing really could shock me. So yeah, I researched on that country and I applied for my visa. And what had happened was I was supposed to initially go in summer 2018, but because I'm Nigerian and I have a really long name, and my middle name apparently was initially my first name, but my mum switched it, so now my middle name is my first name. So then I needed to do like another notarization confirming that that is my actual name. So I missed the deadline and I couldn't go in August. So I was really bummed out. I was really upset about it. I was like, no, I can't go. What am I supposed to do? I don't want to stay in this country anymore. I just want to live my life. So yeah, I was really bummed out. My mum was like, if God said that this is your job, then no evil power will come upon it. And my mum was right. If it was meant for me, it was meant for me. So yeah, I didn't go in summer 2018. I went in spring 2019. So everything was calm, everything was clear, like I didn't have any issues, so I applied in 2019. So what I would suggest is number one, weigh the pros and cons of you leaving your country to move abroad. Number two, decide what country you want to live in. And then number three, decide what job you want to do in that country. Number four, make sure you have the necessary qualifications that you need to get that job. And then number five, apply, and if you get accepted, live your best life. I feel like life is way too short, you know, to have regrets. Sometimes just bite the bullet and just do what you want to do. So yeah, here I am in South Korea. I've been in South Korea for a year now, over a year actually. So yeah, and to be honest, I actually really like it here. I feel like this was a good decision for me, and I've learned more about myself than I probably would have learned if I was still back in the UK. But yeah, so this is the end of my video, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys!